Hello there, my sleepy knights. And tonight, we journey to the frostbitten realms of Midgard. And if you enjoy this tale from the world of God of War, please give us a like, subscribe, and share any thoughts you have in the comments below. I always enjoy reading them. But for now, let's get cozy. Step into a world of gods, giants, and the enduring power of free will. The storm came first, not the gentle drift of winter snow, but razor shards of ice that cut through the evening sky like broken glass. Kratos watched them gather, his weathered hands tightening on the shaft of his axe, as the clouds above twisted into an unnatural spiral. The hunt could wait. Golden light burst through the maelstrom. A Valkyrie, her wings catching the dying sun, she arced through the tempest. Behind her, 3 others followed, their armor the cold blue of a frozen corpse. Their weapons left trails of frost in the air as they pursued their sister. Their once proud battle cries transformed into something mechanical and hollow. The golden Valkyrie banked hard, her wing catching on an ice spear. The shaft shattered, but the damage was done. She spiraled downward, trying to right herself as her attackers pressed their advantage. A second spear found her remaining wing. She plummeted, cratering the snow-covered earth, mere steps from where Kratos stood. He had vowed to stay clear of divine affairs, to let the gods destroy themselves if they wished. But as he turned to leave, her broken wings twitching in the blood-stained snow, she spoke. The children, she gasped. Golden armor cracked and leaking light. They're taking the children first. Kratos stopped. Above them, the corrupted Valkyries circled once, then retreated toward Asgard, their duty seemingly complete. The wounded Valkyrie reached toward him, the trembling hand, ice already forming around the edges of her wounds. I am secret, she whispered, and I have seen what comes for us all. The storm intensified, but Kratos remained, studying her face. There was something there, not the arrogance he'd hoped to expect from divine beings, but a desperate sort of hope. Blood and light seeped from her injuries, turning the snow beneath her into a kaleidoscope of gold and crimson. "Please," she said, her voice growing weaker now. "They're freezing them from the inside, turning them to living ice. Our children, our people, even the gods themselves." Kratos felt the weight of his axe, remembering other gods, other promises, other betrayals. But as he watched ice crystals begin to form along the edges of Siegfried's wounds, he saw something else in her eyes. Not manipulation or deceit, but genuine terror. He had seen that look before. With the grunt that was equal parts resignation and frustration, Kratos stepped forward. Valkyrie's eyes widened as he knelt beside her, his massive hands surprisingly gentle as he examined the spread of ice across her golden armor. "Speaking pains you," he said. "Save your strength." He lifted her carefully, mindful of her shattered wings. As he turned toward his cabin, the storm howled around them, and in the distance, a child's scream echoed across the frozen waste, cut suddenly and terribly short. In the dim light of the cabin, Siegfried's feverish words spilled forth like blood from a wound. Through gritted teeth, she told of Odin's discovery, the heart of Ymir, buried in Yggdrasil's deepest roots. Crystalline organ that still beat with the first giant's final moments. Its every pulse a reminder of order's victory over chaos. He touched it first, she gasped. As Kratos worked to slow the spreading ice, we watched our All-Father change. The warmth left his eyes, replaced by purpose. Her voice cracked. He called it clarity. Said he finally understood how to end all suffering. Kratos pressed a heated blade against the ice at her wounds, drawing a hiss of pain. Gods always claim noble purpose. This was different. Sigrid's golden eyes fixed on him. He gathered us, his Valkyries, said he would share this gift of perfect logic. Most accepted willingly. Her hand clutched his arm. I saw their humanity freeze. Watched them become something else. As if to punctuate her words, another scream pierced the night. Closer this time. The village lay in the valley below, its usual evening fires replaced by an eerie blue glow. Kratos found the streets empty, doors thrown wide. Inside each home, the same scene. Families frozen, ice spreading through their veins like poison. In the village square, he found them. 3 corrupted Valkyries. Their once golden armor, now the color of a frozen lake. Between them, a family knelt. Father, mother, young son. The boy's eyes were already glazing over, his small face becoming a mask of perfect serenity. The gift of clarity, the lead Valkyrie announced, her voice devoid of emotion. No more fear, no more pain, no more imperfect choices. Kratos launched himself forward, Leviathan axe singing through the air. The corrupted Valkyrie caught it on her shield, ice spreading along the blade. Her sisters flanked him, their movements precise, mechanical. The ghost of Sparta, their leader intoned. Your arrival was predicted. Your interference is illogical. The battle erupted like an ice storm. Kratos fought all his legendary fury. But these were not enemies fueled by rage or fear. They moved with perfect efficiency. Each strike calculated, each defense precise. His axe found purchase in crystalline armor. The Valkyries seemed unmoved by pain or injury. The father grabbed his son, tried to run. A spear of ice took him through the chest. As he fell, his eyes began to frost over, and a terrible peace settled over his features. Something snapped inside Kratos. Not rage. He had moved beyond simple rage long ago. This was different. This was recognition. He had seen too many children lost to the games of gods. When his axe finally came down, splitting the lead Valkyrie's helm, her face showed no fear. Only mild disappointment at the mathematical failure of her strategy. Her sisters retreated skyward, leaving behind a village that would never again know warmth. The boy was still breathing, frost spreading across his chest. His mother, fully transformed, watched with perfect indifference as Kratos lifted him from the snow. This time, there would be no debate about involvement. This time, there would be war. Deep in the ancient Valkyrie temple, gold leaf flaked from crumbling walls as Kratos and Sigrid found the survivors. Only 7 remained of the proud warrior sisterhood. They gathered around a circular pit where sacred flames once burned, now cold as a grave. Odin seeks perfection, said Brynhildr, eldest of the survivors. The heart shows him each imperfect choice that led to suffering, every mercy that bred later tragedy. Her fingers trace patterns in the ashes. He believes he can excise these flaws from creation itself. Sigrid spread a map across the dead fire pit. The heart's power grows with the ice. By winter solstice, it will be strong enough to freeze all 9 realms eternally. Unless we take it, Kratos growled. The Valkyrie stirred at his words, hands tightening on weapons. Steal the heart of Ymir from Odin himself. One warrior laughed bitterly. We might as well ask for his eye. We have no choice. Sigrid's wings, partially healed, rustled in the darkness. Each day, more fall to his gift or clarity. Each day we grow weaker. They planned through the night. The heart was kept in Odin's mountain fortress, guarded by the corrupted Valkyries. They would need to strike before the solstice ritual began. But as dawn approached, Sigrid grew quiet. When the others left to patrol, she remained by the cold pit. There's more, Kratos said, not a question. My brother, she whispered. Tyr. Before Odin found the heart, he was a giant friend, a peacemaker. Her voice caught. He was the first Odin tested it on. The truth spilled out like bitter wine. How Tyr had screamed as the ice took him, his massive form twisting into something monstrous. How Sigrid had stayed her sister's blades, refusing to strike him down. Her mercy earned her exile, while her transformed brother became the heart's guardian. Every night I hear him, she said, still screaming beneath the ice. They infiltrated the fortress under cover of a storm. Thor himself, harboring secret doubts about his father's path, showed them the hidden ways. Through dark corridors they crept, past corrupted gods, frozen warriors standing sentinel. In the heart's chamber, they found Odin waiting, not with rage or madness, but something worse, perfect certainty. I watched my peace treaty lead to slaughter, he said. his remaining eye gleaming like ice. My mercy became massacre, my wisdom weakness. The heart pulsed behind him, each beat sending waves of cold through the chamber. But the heart showed me the truth. Every tragedy springs from imperfect choice. Every suffering from flawed feeling. His gaze fell heavy on Kratos. You, of all beings, should understand. How many died for your emotions? Your vengeance? Your loves and hatreds? The words struck deeper than any blade. For a moment, Kratos saw the logic in them, felt the seductive pull of perfect order. Then, he remembered the boy in the village. Peace replacing pain as his humanity froze. The battle was brief and brutal. They escaped with their warmth, but not the heart. Behind them, Odin's words echoed like breaking ice. Realm by realm, they gathered their army. In Vanaheim, they found druids refusing to surrender their wild magic to Odin's order. In Alfheim, light elves fought against the creeping frost that threatened their eternal summer. Even in Helheim, the dead stirred restlessly as the cold threatened to freeze even the fires of damnation. Each realm showed the heart's growing power differently. Rivers ran backward with perfect geometry. Animals moved in unnaturally synchronized patterns. Children played in silent, ordered rows. Their games reduced to mathematical precision. They call it peace, spat a Vanir warrior. But there is no peace in perfection. Thor met them in secret caves and shadowed valleys, providing intelligence while maintaining his facade of loyalty. Father prepares the ritual, he reported. The solstice comes soon. But for every ally gained, others fell. The ice claimed them in battles and ambushes, and moments of weakness and strength. Kratos watched warriors he'd fought beside transformed, their passion becoming precision, their fury becoming function. They found Tyr in a cave of ice. His giant's form twisted into something barely recognizable. Crystalline growths burst from his flesh, pulsing in time with the distant heart. His eyes, when they found Secret, held a flicker of recognition that was worse than none at all. "Brother," she whispered, reaching toward him. "Fight it, please." His response was a roar that shook loose glaciers. The battle nearly killed them both. Kratos holding back for Secret's sake. Tyr's attacks driven by perfect, emotionless efficiency. They retreated, leaving him to his frozen prison. Secret's tears turning to ice before they hit the ground. "Some bonds even the heart cannot break," she said afterward. "He knew me. Somewhere inside, he still knows me." The betrayal came at dawn. Gna, one of their most trusted Valkyries, had fallen to the heart's influence days ago. She maintained the pretense of warmth while passing their plans to Odin. The attack came as they prepared for their final assault. The corrupted struck with brutal precision. Warriors fell to ice spears before they could reach their weapons. Others transformed where they stood, frost claiming them from within. Half their force was lost in moments. Kratos fought through the chaos, axe blazing with runic fire. He reached Gna as he directed the assault. A facade of emotion finally dropped. "Your resistance is futile," she stated, parrying his strike. "Accept the perfect order that comes." "There is no glory in perfection," he growled, and took her head. But the damage was done. They retreated to the giant's ancient stronghold, their numbers halved, their plans in ruins. In the distance, the winter solstice approached, with all the inevitability of death itself. In the giant's stronghold, desperation bred boldness. Thor arrived with final intelligence. The ritual would require Odin to channel the heart's full power through Yggdrasil's branches. For one moment, just one, the heart would be vulnerable. A direct assault would be suicide, Brunhildr argued. But Kratos saw the calculations behind her fear. Then we die warm, he said. They divided their remaining forces. The Vanir would attack from the west, drawing the bulk of Odin's army. The Light Elves would strike from above, their summer magic holding the ice at bay. Thor would maintain his deception until the final moment, positioning himself to disable the fortress's ancient wards. Kratos and Sigrid would lead the core assault, a small group targeting the heart itself. One chance, paid for in blood and sacrifice. Dawn broke on the solstice with unnatural stillness. No wind stirred the air as their forces took position. In the distance, Yggdrasil's branches began to crystallize, ice spreading through the world tree like poison through veins. The battle erupted like a breaking glacier. The Vanir struck first, their wild magic clashing against walls of perfect ice. Corrupted Valkyries filled the sky, meeting the Light Elves in aerial combat that painted the clouds with fire and frost. Kratos fought through the chaos, Sigrid at his side. Each corrupted warrior they faced moved with machine precision. But there was power in imperfection, in rage, in desperation, in choice. Thor's betrayal of Odin shook the fortress's foundations. Lightning shattered wards, opening a path to the heart. But the price was immediate. Ice claimed the thunder god, even as his lightning still crackled. His final roar becoming a sigh of perfect clarity. They found Tyr guarding the inner sanctum. The ice had spread further, leaving only his eyes recognizably his own. Sigrid stepped forward before Kratos could stop her. "Brother," she said, spreading her arms wide. "I saved you once with mercy. Let me save you again." The giant's attack was instantaneous, precise, and pulled at the last moment. His fist stopped inches from her heart. recognition warred with programming. Tyr's form shuddered, ice cracking and reforming. Sigrid pressed her hand against his frozen chest, and golden Valkyrie light bloomed between them. No, Kratos realized. The cost. Get to the heart, Sigrid commanded, her light intensifying. I choose this. Ice began spreading up her arms where she touched her brother. Perfect order cannot comprehend sacrifice. That is its weakness. The chamber erupted with golden light. When it faded, both Sigrid and Tyr were gone. The ascent to Odin's chamber was a gauntlet of perfect horror. Warriors moved in flawless formation, their attacks precise. Gods and giants fought side by side with mechanical synchronization. Even the air seemed to freeze in structured patterns. Kratos fought through it all, each step paid for in fury. The corrupted Thor appeared, lightning now white frost. Brynhildr fell, her final battle cry becoming a whisper of equations. He reached the heart's chamber as the solstice ritual reached its peak. Odin stood transformed, more ice than flesh, the heart beating in time with Yggdrasil's pulse. Look, Odin commanded, gesturing at the realms below. Perfect order comes. No more war. No more grief. No more imperfect choices leading to tragedy. His eye fixed on Kratos. No more dead children. The words struck like spears, but Kratos remembered Sigrid's sacrifice, remembered the village boy's humanity freezing. You offer peace without meaning, Kratos growled. Victory without glory. Life without purpose. I offer protection, Odin replied. And the final battle began. Their battle shattered reality itself. Each of Odin's strikes carried the weight of perfect calculation, while Kratos fought with the fury of chaos incarnate. They crashed through the barriers between realms, through Midgard's freezing forests, Muspelheim's dying fires, Alfheim's crystallizing light. The heart's power grew with each passing moment. Below them, armies fought, their movements becoming one with the spreading order. You deny inevitability. Odin's voice held no anger, only certainty. Every choice you've made led to this moment. Every act of mercy became tragedy. Every love became loss. He pressed his advantage. Ice spears manifesting with perfect precision. Kratos roared, a Leviathan axe blazing against the frost. But with each clash, the heart's influence grew stronger. Ice crept along his arms, promising peace, promising an end to the weight of choice, of guilt, of memory. Then the heart itself spoke. Reality fractured. Kratos found himself in a perfect world. A realm without war or suffering. Saw every possible tragedy prevented by flawless calculation. Saw himself as an architect of perfect order, reshaping reality with precision. Take my power, the heart whispered. You've seen the cost of freedom, of mercy. Take my gift and end suffering forever. The temptation was absolute. Even as part of him fought, another part recognized the logic. How many had died for his choices? How many realms had burned for his freedom to choose vengeance over mercy? But through the vision, memories sparked. Secret sacrifice, the village boy, the price of perfect peace. There is no glory in perfection, Kratos growled. No strength, predestination. His grip tightened on his axe. No wisdom without the freedom to fail. The heart's chamber erupted in battle once more. But now, Kratos fought with something beyond rage or skill. Each imperfect strike carried the weight of choice. Each chaotic movement celebrated the freedom to fail and learn and choose again. Odin's perfect defenses shattered. The All-Father stumbled, his certainty cracking like ice in a spring. You would doom us to suffering, he gasped. To war, to loss. I would free us to live, Kratos answered, and brought his axe down upon the heart of Ymir. Reality itself screamed. The heart shattered, shards raining across the 9 realms like fallen stars. Each fragment carried away its promise of perfect order, leaving behind the chaotic brilliance of free will. Yggdrasil's branches thawed. Corrupted armies stumbled, emotion flooding back into frozen minds. Gods and mortals alike fell to their knees as their humanity returned in a rush of glorious imperfection. Odin collapsed, his eye clearing as the ice left his veins. "What have I done?" he whispered. And for the first time since finding the heart, grief touched his face. "You chose poorly," Kratos answered, "as all must be free to do." He turned away, leaving the All-Father to face the consequences of his perfect logic. Spring came to the 9 realms like an awakening from fever. The ice retreated not just from the land, but from hearts and minds. Gods and mortals alike struggled with returned emotion, with the weight of what they'd done in their quest for perfect order. In the ruins of Odin's fortress, they found survivors. Thor, his lightning once again wild and untamed. Valkyries shaking off the last crystals of frost from their golden armor. Even some of the first transformed, their humanity slowly thawing like rivers in spring. Among the shards of the heart, they discovered 2 intertwined forms. One massive as a giant, one winged like a Valkyrie. Tear and secret, frozen together in a final embrace. As they watched, the ice melted away, leaving behind 2 figures gasping in the sudden warmth. Sister and brother, restored by sacrifice. Kratos did not wait for gratitude or celebration. He turned away from gods and warriors alike, heading back to his solitary cabin in the wilds. Months passed. Summer bloomed across the realms, chaotic and glorious. In his self-imposed exile, Kratos watched the nearby village rebuild, watched children play, their games beautiful, watched people choose and fail and choose again. One morning, he found tracks in the snow near his cabin. Wolves stalking the village's livestock. In the past, would have ignored the mortal's plight. Now, he followed the tracks. When he returned at dusk, the wolves would trouble the village no more. A week later, he stopped a bandit raid before it reached the village borders. The week after that, he guided lost hunters home through a storm. Small choices, each one freely made. On the anniversary of the heart's destruction, Sigrid found him watching the village from the forest's edge. Her wings had healed, golden armor gleaming in the sunset. You could be honored among gods, she said. They would welcome the ghost of Sparta as a hero. Kratos watched the child stumble in the village square, watched her choose to rise again. There is no glory in perfection, he answered. Only in the choice to be better than we are. Sigrid nodded, understanding what was left unsaid. She took wing, leaving him to his solitude. But it was different solitude now. One chosen rather than imposed. One that left room for mercy. In the village below, life continued in all its imperfect glory. And in the shadows of the forest, Kratos stood guard over their right to choose it.